You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. Well, we have snow behind us and some snow outside.
Yeah, we do, and it's another cold day. Not as bad as yesterday, though, thankfully. Let's get a check on the forecast. Jacob Montesano is here in the studio with us. Jacob?
Yeah, we finally saw some accumulating snow out there, and we're still seeing some light snow falling right now. If we take a look at the current radar, still seeing those light flurries across far southern Wisconsin, a little bit more moderate snow around Janesville and just to the south. And we may continue to see some flurries for the next couple of hours, but we're going to continue to see the snow falling at a pretty light pace. But because the ground is so cold, it hasn't been taken a lot for the snow to accumulate. Despite that, we haven't seen a ton of accumulation. As we look at the snowfall forecast, again, we may continue to see some light showers throughout the rest of the evening. But by the time we get to Thursday morning, most of it will look to clear out of the area, and then we're really not expecting much snow beyond that. Now, as we take a look at the current temperatures, definitely a lot better. Right now in the lower 20s, a few upper teens here and there, but compared to yesterday, we're over 20 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. Throughout the evening, temperatures will be pretty steady. Again, a few light snow showers, but mostly cloudy skies. And then as we get towards tomorrow morning, we actually will see some clear skies. But temperatures are going to be cold still. Now, we don't have alert days in the forecast, but that doesn't mean they won't be cold. I'll talk more in detail about how cold the wind chills could get tonight coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. Financial concerns are bringing a change in leadership to UW-Madison's Division of Diversity, Equity, and Educational Achievement. Dr. LeVar Charleston led the division for 3 years. Effective immediately, he's leaving his role as vice chancellor and will return to his work as a professor at the School of Education. It comes amid an ongoing internal review of the division, which UW says has revealed areas of concern about financial operations and fiscal judgments in the division. Provost Charles Isbell Jr. will take Charleston's place. UW says this will have no direct impacts on its students. A statement from the school reads in part, the university remains steadfastly committed to ensuring all students and employees are offered the opportunity to thrive and find a sense of belonging on campus.
The man accused of setting fire to Congressman Glenn Grothman's office is now officially charged. 19-year-old Caden Sage Stakowicz is charged with arson, terrorist threats, attempted burglary, and criminal damage to property. He made his first court appearance for those charges earlier today.
I also believe that there is a potential risk to the public. The court is ordering a $500,000 cash bond, no contact with Congressman Grothman, his office, or staff, or areas that are leased or rented for his campaign.
Stakowitz's next court date is scheduled for January 30th.
This all stems from an incident early Sunday morning. Crews responded to the Republican congressman's office in Fond du Lac for reports of a fire. They'd later arrest the suspect who allegedly admitted to setting Grothman's office on fire because of the TikTok ban. TikTok went dark Saturday night but was back online by Sunday afternoon. Representative Grothman was one of hundreds of lawmakers who voted in favor of forcing TikTok's Chinese parent company to sell or face a ban from U.S. app stores. The fire didn't hurt anyone, and Grothman said he's thankful someone called 911 when they spotted it.
Meanwhile, a board member at TikTok's parent company says a deal to save the app from disappearing in the U.S. will be made soon. It comes after the president signed an executive order to pause the enforcement of the law for a few weeks. Yesterday, President Trump said he is not opposed to ByteDance selling the app to the leader of his new Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk. Two separate investor groups have already made bids to buy TikTok.
For the time being, federal health agencies like the CDC, FDA, and NIH are not issuing scientific reports. The Trump administration has told the agencies to pause their external communications. That includes updates to websites and health advisories. The warning does not issue guidance as to what else it covers or how long the pause will last. The agencies routinely release information on food recalls, drug and medical device approvals, and evolving public health threats.
The changes in how our country goes about public health did not stop there.
President Trump signed an executive order on Monday that would withdraw the U.S. from the World Health Organization. Jalen Banks joins us with what this means.
Of the 200 pieces of legislation signed by President Trump on Monday, one of those may impact public health abroad and in Wisconsin. The WHO is the governing health agency of the United Nations. The organization provides technical assistance to countries as well as sets international standards and guidelines that impact public health. I spoke with one expert who has worked closely with the WHO on the potential impacts of the decision to leave.
Here in Nigeria, where I'm at right now, 100% this is going to affect Wisconsinites, right? And I think that the thing is that, like, I don't know how to most plainly say this. Like, we just withdrew from the largest health organization on the planet voluntarily, right? And so, we no longer have a seat at the table.
Tonight at 5, we'll hear more from Two Paces on how this will impact Wisconsinites. Reporting in Madison, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
5. We'll see you at 5, Jalen. Thank you. President Trump cited disagreements over the U.S.'s financial contributions to the World Health Organization, but he did not rule out returning to the organization.
Congressional Democrats are navigating how to work with their Republican colleagues. At the same time, they're condemning President Trump's policies. In an interview with News 3 Now, U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin spoke candidly about working with the Trump administration. Baldwin touted her ability to work with leaders across the aisle and even expressed excitement over former Wisconsin Representative Sean Duffy's nomination to lead President Trump's Department of Transportation. Still, Senator Baldwin remains wary of some of the president's other nominees.
I met with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and had numerous concerns going into the meeting. And I will say that he didn't do much to allay those concerns. And again, I go back to that litmus test of, are they going to do the things that that will help Wisconsin families get ahead? And, somebody who is a vaccine skeptic or cynic, we don't need outbreaks of preventable diseases.
This comes days after the New York Times reported Kennedy petitioned the Food and Drug Administration to revoke the authorization of all COVID vaccines in May of 2021. Kennedy's Senate confirmation hearing has yet to be scheduled, but there has been no indication from President Trump that another name is in the running. Next on Live at 4, more allegations against the president's pick to lead the Department of Defense.
We'll tell you how Democratic and Republican lawmakers are reacting when Live at 4 continues.
There are no more federal DEI jobs. President Trump signed an executive order banning diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the federal government. Now, the White House says all existing federal DEI workers are on paid administrative leave. That's effective immediately. All federal agencies have been ordered to remove DEI websites and cancel all training related to the initiative. The Office of Management and Budget has also been directed to require federal contractors comply with our civil rights laws.
A week after his first Senate confirmation hearing, President Trump's pick to lead the Department of Defense is facing another allegation. Pete Hegseth's former sister-in-law gave the Senate Armed Services Committee an affidavit that she filed. In it, she alleges Hegseth was abusive toward his second ex-wife, Samantha. She did not specify the nature of the abuse, but said Samantha at times feared for her safety. This is the latest allegation against Hegseth. Others include sexual assault, financial mismanagement, and being intoxicated at work. While some lawmakers believe it's an issue, others aren't so sure.
This is just the Democrats doing what they're doing. They're obstructing Trump putting together a team. Trump won the election. He won the electoral vote. He won the popular vote. He needs to be able to put his team together, and the Democrats are being obstructionists.
If it was just one affidavit, okay, I guess you could say I'm not sure it's credible. But I've seen what they've seen. Serial allegations of misbehavior, impairment by alcohol at work events.
Hegseth denies all of the allegations against him.
A student is dead and another is hurt after a shooting at Antioch High School in Nashville, Tennessee. At 11 this morning, the 17-year-old shooter, also a student, opened fire with a gun in the school's cafeteria before turning the gun on himself. The two victims were taken to the hospital where a female student died and a male student received treatment for a graze wound to his arm. Police haven't identified a motive and the investigation is ongoing.
Today in Gaza, trucks are delivering aid to people in the southernmost city of Rafah. Displaced Palestinians could be seen chasing after the trucks. The relief comes 15 months after the start of the war in Gaza and just days after the first phase of a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel went into effect. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says more than 2 million people in Gaza depend on this aid, and half of them are children.
Video shows the effects of a historic and dangerous winter storm taking over much of the southern U.S. Across the region, at least 9 people are believed to have died because of the dangerous cold.
New Orleans saw more than 3 times its snowfall record, and for the first time ever, Gulf Shores, Alabama, saw snow blanket its beachfronts.
And we're seeing a little bit of snow out, and it's not quite as cold. I'll take what I can get. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano.
Thanks, Brady. I do want to start with the current snow depth across the United States because you probably won't be seeing a snow depth chart like this maybe for the rest of your life, considering there is plenty of snow in northern Florida and southern Georgia and very little across the Midwest. Really, outside of the lake effect snow bands that we've been seeing, there's not much snow in the central and eastern United States, with the exception of that storm that just impacted the southeast. Now, there are some isolated areas in the Appalachians, but overall, we haven't been the only area to see very little snowfall, and it's very ironic that places that far south saw that much amount of snow. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, we are still seeing some of that light snow. Some moderate bands of snow are impacting portions of Rock County and also Walworth County, but this has been the case throughout the entire day. We have seen some pockets of moderate snow, but for the most part, the snow has been pretty light, but it has accumulated enough to create some slippery roads, and we may continue to see some of these light snow showers throughout the evening. But once we get past midnight, much of the area should be dry, and then we're actually going to see sunshine for your Thursday. So beyond the snowfall, here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. It is still going to be cold the next couple of days, but it is going to be better compared to earlier this week. But then it's going to be mild over the weekend and next week. And once the snow clears out, we're going to be seeing very little of it going forward. Now, here's a look at that snowfall percentage going forward. You could see some snowfall linger tonight, but beyond that, very little chance of snow is in the forecast. It looks like we're going to be pretty dry throughout the weekend and for most of next week. Now, as we look at the temperatures, like Brady mentioned, they have been better, but they are still pretty cold. And looking at the wind chills overnight, we are going to see them drop back below 0 for Thursday morning. Now, we don't have an alert day in the forecast because although they're going to be very cold, they're still going to be a lot better from earlier this week. But tomorrow morning and also Friday morning, we're going to see wind chills below 0 during these morning hours. But then Saturday, it will be a lot better. In fact, by Saturday afternoon, we're actually going to have wind chills in the 20s. So it's going to feel a lot better then, and considering where we have been, it's going to almost feel like it's the spring. So 34 is the forecasted high for Saturday. Sunday, upper 20s, so pretty close to normal. Actually, the average high is 27 degrees for this time of the year. And as we look at the next 10 days, again, a pretty mild forecast considering not just the average high, but also what we have seen. We'll have plenty of days in the 30s, maybe even lower 40s for a few days. Wednesday and the following Saturday specifically do look to be very mild. So the 7 to 10 day forecast shows very dry conditions and much milder temperatures for the weekend and next week.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, we have some breaking news. We're taking a live look at the U.S. Capitol, where the House has just passed the Lake and Riley Act. It's the first bill of President Trump's second term. The law passed 263 to 156, and now the bill is named after a nursing student killed by an undocumented immigrant in 2024. It expands mandatory detention to include undocumented people convicted of or charged with burglary, larceny, theft, or shoplifting, as well as those who admit to committing those crimes.
Well, Restaurant Week is underway in the 608. We're giving you a little taste today on Live at 4.
Josh Spreiter is in Madison with our next feature of the week.
Well, we have another tasty feature for you. We're at La Taguara, and the table is set here during Winter Restaurant Week. One of the 43 restaurants taking part. Jacob Liddell joining us. Jacob, good to see you.
Good.
Thanks so much for having us out. This is such a special opportunity for you guys to showcase what you are all about. And what is La Taguara?
La Taguara is a family-run business. We offer Venezuelan cuisine, Latin American. We're the first only Venezuelan restaurant in town.
I mean, that's very unique in itself to be able to say that you are the only one here in Madison.
Yeah. Yeah, we brought Venezuelan cuisine to show our food, our roots. We're so happy to be on Restaurant Week.
So obviously you've got some menu items out here. So what sorts of food can folks expect here?
Okay, our menu is actually pretty big, but we're showing cases right now. The arepa will be displayed over here. There is a sandwich that is made of a corn dough, and you can stuff it with any fillings like beef, pork, chicken. And on the big plate over there, we have our national dish. It's called pabellon. And it's a plate with rice, beans, shredded beef, sweet plantains. We have a lot of gluten-free options. We have empanadas, we have flan, we have like a shrimp cocktail. There is a lot of good items on the menu.
So Restaurant Week, obviously a great chance for folks to be able to come in and maybe try something they haven't done before.
Yeah, I think it's an opportunity to show and extend, our roots and cuisine to everybody in Madison.
So La Teguara, you have 2 locations, this one on Crossroads, but you have one on East Washington as well.
We have another one on 3502 East Washington that opened about 13 years ago. And then we opened this location about 2 years ago.
So obviously you saw a need to expand and do more here in Madison.
Yeah, we were on the need of bigger space, like this one, more reservations, bigger tables.
La Teguara means family, and this is a family operation for you.
Yes, it is. It's a family restaurant. La Teguara means like a mom and pop shop. And, I'm here with the support of my whole family, my mom, my wife, my mother-in-law, my sister. Are with me running the restaurants.
And they're with us right here today.
Here right now.
That makes you guys so special in the fact that you guys get to do this together and really showcase, the meaning behind all this.
That is correct. Yeah, we're happy to show this to Madison.
All right, so if people are interested, they can get reservations for the remaining Restaurant Week.
That is correct. They can get reservations on this location. They just need to go online and just a couple clicks and they reserve a table.
Well, wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. If you'd like to learn more about Winter Restaurant Week here at La Teguara, just go to the story on channel3000.com. In Madison, I'm Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
I love the matching shirts.
Yeah.
So they look great.
I think we need to petition next year to have all the Restaurant Week people come into this show.
Yes, exactly.
And have some nibbles. Well, coming up on Live at 4, many people dream about restoring a historic home.
Local business leader Laura Gallagher did it, and she wrote a book about it, sharing valuable lessons along the way. We'll talk about Home Again, a restoration story, when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. As a child growing up in rural Apple River, Illinois, near Galena, Laura Gallagher's fondest memories were being in her great aunt and uncle's house.
When the 140-year-old house went on the market 3 years ago in 2023, Laura decided to buy it and restore it, and she wrote a book about it. Here it is. It's called Home Again, a restoration story. Laura, by the way, is a very familiar face in Madison. She is the president and founder of the creative company in Madison. Good to see you, Laura.
Good to see you. Thank you.
This is something that I think inspires so many people. I would love to buy my grandmother's house and restore it, but it's a daunting prospect. You said that you had to have this house, but you're not a home builder or a renovator. How did you decide to do this?
Well, I hesitated too. I looked at the house in October of 2022, and then I actually said it's too hard. And then I came back in February, and I just felt that I was supposed to put in an offer, and I did. And my cousins rejected the initial offer because I went in a little low, and I came back with the offer that they were looking for, and I bought the house.
Yeah. What did you learn about this process?
Well, first of all, there were very few resources out there for someone like me or you who might want to take on something like this. If you're not going, there were plenty of things like actually how to, and there were beautiful home books, but there wasn't anything that was sort of in this in-between space. And so as I was documenting it, I was noticing that people on social media were really gravitating towards, oh my gosh, look what she did with the wood floors. Here's how she solved those old wooden doors that were stuck in a rafter. Look at that. She just found these cool things. Like I found, French doors that were in the attic. Wow. And brought them down, and they didn't really need that much attention. So there were parts of it that I discovered and I shared, and people thought it was really interesting. So within a short amount of time, I thought, I think I've got a book here.
Oh, yeah.
So by that summer, I hired my Rotary Scholar intern to start documenting and capturing the story that I was writing, which was helpful. So I think this is the thing that stops people from writing books and going on journeys like this, is that they overthink it and they don't just start doing it. I did it little by little, and by month 9, I had not only a mostly restored house, I had mostly a finished book, which is incredible, right?
You took all the pictures. There's like 500 pictures
There
in
are
here.
500 photographs in the book.
And is the home just for you and your family to enjoy, or are you turning it into an Airbnb? Or
Not
what?
yet. It's always an option. It's 77 miles south of Madison, and it's in beautiful Joe Davis County. Sometimes people think about that part of the country and they don't realize that it's hills and trees and rivers and streams and all the things. It's gorgeous there. So I might, but for right now, I just have my friends come down on the weekends and I vacation there. And my dad still lives there. My sister still lives in the area. I still have family in the area, but we're planning I've already done 2 family reunions at the house. And it's at this season of my life, my children are gone. They have both graduated from college now. And it's my turn to, create these sort of spaces, right? My mother's gone too, as you mentioned, and so it's a nice way for me to have a gathering place.
And before we wrap up, there's that saying, you can't go home again. And when you lose loved ones, I think that becomes true. Does it feel the same to you, or does it feel different to you?
What a great question, Brady. Yes, it still feels like home.
Yeah.
It still feels like I can feel the souls of those who have gone on before, who lived here, my cousins who touched the banister and ran up and down the stairs, just like I did when I was a child, even though I visited this house. It's a magical place. So I hope that people enjoy reading about it in the book, and that they also consider taking these risks, because some of these properties are very reasonably priced too, in a market where that isn't the case, and you can make magical memories all over again.
It's very inspiring to keep a piece of your own personal history. All you have to do is follow Laura's step-by-step plan to do it. Home Again, a restoration story. The book is available
at homeagainappleriver.com,
okay,
which is the website, and also on Amazon. And you'll be able to check it out at the Fitchburg Library soon, or if you're in that area, the Galena Library or the Warren Library.
This could take your career in a whole new direction. We'll
Who
see
knows?
it at the NARI Remodeling Expo, right?
Who knows?
Laura,
Yes.
congratulations. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, the new extent of immigration policy in the U.S.
How local and state leaders are responding when Live at 4 continues.
Watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Yeah, that kind of sums up today, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. A lot of people are looking for snow, just a little bit,
while.
just enough to make things a little slippery. Cold, but not bitterly cold are the weather words today. We want to remind people quickly before we get to Jacob that Lisa Briggs is going to be taking your plant questions. A lot of growers are looking for a layer of snow. Tips at channel3000.com if you have a question for Lisa. But now, Jacob, we're in the double digits and it feels so good.
Yeah, unfortunately though, we are going to wake up to more single digits, but yes, temperatures are better, but they are still cold. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, we also are still dealing with some snowfall, mostly in the form of light snow, but there are some pockets of moderate snow. Over the last hour, we've seen some of that moderate snow in Janesville and most of Rock County into Walworth County, pushing off to the east. But even this band of snow, not too heavy at this hour. As we take a look at future track for the next few hours, we're going to continue to see some light snow showers lasting until the latest about midnight. And then once we get to Thursday morning, we are going to see clear skies to start the day, but as I mentioned, it is going to be cold again. Now, temperatures right now in the lower 20s, upper teens for a few locations, but over 20 degrees warmer for a lot of the region. But unfortunately, tomorrow looks to be colder than today. Now, as we take a look at the evening forecast, it's going to remain in the 20s with a few light snow showers, with overnight lows likely dropping into the single digits for much of the area, and wind chills will once again drop below 0. scenario. I'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Just a few days now into his presidency, deportations have already begun under Donald Trump.
The head of Immigrations and Customs Enforcement says his agency has already removed hundreds of people from the country. Meanwhile, a 3-page memo from the Justice Department threatens criminal charges for state and local officials who don't comply with the federal government's immigration commands and requests. It also says any decisions by federal prosecutors to decline to prosecute immigration violations must be disclosed to the DOJ's headquarters. In addition to the memo, President Trump has removed rules that prohibited ICE from arresting people at churches and schools.
We've just received a statement from State Superintendent Dr. Jill Underly about the president's immigration policy. It reads in part, quote, "All students, no matter their immigration status, have a right to receive a quality public education. These policies threaten the very core of our educational system and erode the values that define us as a nation."
Just last week, Dane County officials said Trump's presidency will not change how it operates. District Attorney Ismail Ozan and County Executive Melissa Agard said, regardless of a person's status, they should continue engaging with local law enforcement without fear of removal from their community. Both said checking and reporting documentation status is not and will not become a part of upholding justice at the county level. To Wall Street now, excitement around President Trump's investments in AI prompting a boost for U.S. stocks. The Dow is up 131, the NASDAQ is up 253, and the S&P 500 is up 37.
Well, later tonight, Governor Tony Evers will deliver his State of the State address. In it, the governor will focus heavily on the need to make school safety a priority. Excerpts from the address show Evers will propose a $300 million investment in school mental health services. That would include funding for peer-to-peer suicide prevention programs and expanded mental health training.
Governor Evers will announce those proposals ahead of a budget battle with the Republican-controlled state legislature.
And whether his priorities will end up surviving that process is up in the air. Joining us now to talk about that and to preview coverage of tonight's State of the State of Address, our political reporter, Will Keneally. Hi, Will. Good to see you.
Good to be with you guys. Yeah.
So how do you think the legislature will react to this today?
Well, I think you'll see a very starkly divided House. This is housed in the Assembly chamber, and you literally have two sides of the aisle. You'll see Democrats stand up, applaud a bunch. You'll see Republicans, sit down, kind of be quiet. I think the thing with a lot of politics is it's not necessarily about what gets done, but who gets credit for it. So we'll see Evers talk a lot about tax cuts that's been kind of put through the process within the last couple of years. He'll take credit for signing it, but that's something that Republicans will write into the state budget. So we'll see a little bit of a fight between those two over who gets credit for some of these tax cuts, for example.
And do you think anything that Governor Evers highlights in his address will be because of the Abundant Life shooting, particularly the school safety issue?
Yeah, I would say, especially coming from somebody who headed state schools. He's a former science teacher. He's an administrator down in the Verona School District and led state schools. I think something like that just seems to weigh on the governor, certainly now in that policy position as the governor. We did see him, make significant steps within the last couple of weeks to create a new Office of Violence Prevention, putting $10 million towards that. So I think this is certainly a continuation of the aftermath of that Abundant Life Christian school shooting as that kind of percolates through the state capitol and kind of the changes therein.
You've gone through the excerpts that we were provided of the address tonight. Were there any other things that stood out to you that we'll hear tonight?
Yeah, I think the one interesting thing is how the governor is framing some of these issues. So we'll see tax cuts, childcare, for example. I'd have viewers kind of listen out for this idea of kids playing a central role in this. For example, kids' safety in schools, kids not being safe not only in school but safe at home, supporting parents with childcare, that kind of stuff. So I would certainly watch out for that as this budget season and legislative season kind of gets going here.
What time is the address today?
7. So set your TVs. You can stream it online at channel3000.com, and we'll be there in the chamber, so you can catch us later tonight at 10.
Okay. All right, Will, thank you.
Thank you, Will. And we have a reminder to send us your plant questions. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is joining us on Live at 4 shortly to answer them. You can still submit a question. Email tips@channel3000.com.
And still ahead on Live at 4, coyotes are spotted around Madison.
How experts are tracking their whereabouts when we come back. Okay, if you heard howling at night while walking your dog around Madison and you're worried it might be a coyote, well, you're probably right.
Experts tell our Arman Rahman how they're tracking coyotes around Madison and what you should do if you spot one.
If you're out in your neighborhood and you encounter a coyote, local experts want you to know how to haze it. What that means is raising your arms really big and yelling at it to get out of here, because they need to remember to be scared of us. That's because experts with the UW Urban Canid Project have seen more daytime sightings of coyotes recently. Residents reported more than a dozen to the project's iNaturalist page since November. One of the animals that made headlines on social media was roaming around the neighborhood of Vilas Park and was captured at the beginning of January. Extension wildlife specialist David Drake says mating season for coyotes, when they're typically more out and about, has just begun.
When they're active during the day, that gets us a little concerned in the sense that it maybe suggests that they're starting to get used to human beings or losing their fear of human beings. And at that point, we want to make sure that we are alerting the humans that coyotes are around so that they can protect and make sure their companion animals are safe.
So how do you keep them safe? Well, Drake advises to keep your dogs leashed for the rest of mating season, and if your dog is smaller than 20 pounds and you see a coyote, pick your dog up off the ground. Coming up at 6, I'll have more on why there are more daytime sightings and what local experts are doing to track them. For now, reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Have you seen any?
No, have you?
No, but there used to be a fox that would lurk around where I live in Madison, so I'll take the fox over the coyote.
I can hear them sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, they sound like they're like screaming,
Yeah,
sort of in the distance.
it's
I know
creepy.
it's a little eerie. It's a little eerie. Well, coming up on Live at 4, we're taking your questions for Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company. You can send them in right now to tips@channel3000.com.
And Netflix is raising its prices again. The details when Live at 4 continues. On the next Live at 4, Latin Grammy Award winner Akiki Myers joins us to talk about her performance with the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra.
Plus, Dr. Zorba Pastor joins us to talk about his latest piece in the Wisconsin State Journal. Netflix is hiking its monthly fee for U.S. subscribers by anywhere from $1 to $2.50, depending on what plan you currently have.
Well, the increase comes after the company reported gaining nearly 19 million new users over the holidays, thanks in large part to its live programming. Netflix says the cost for adding an extra family to an account will remain at $6.99. We'll be right back. Tomorrow on Live at 4, Latin Grammy Award winner Akiki Myers joins us to talk about her performance with the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra. And later on News 3 Now at 6, Will Keneally is live at the Capitol for the State of the State address. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.